I've seen him before.
I bet you don't even realize the impact that social media has on your perception of the world and how you see it on a daily basis. From what we eat, how we see our bodies, our sex lives, unreal expectations, and even the chances of being bitten by a shark in the sea next time you visit Australia. According to
Wait, what?
social media, has Billa and I are secretly best friends. I'm going to explain the 6 biggest issues that I see when it comes to social media and some of the things that we can do proactively to stop them ruining our lives. Number 1. Orthorexia. Although
Orthorexia? Ortho means eyeball or eye. Exia means anorexia. What's exia in Latin? Anorexia. Lack of eating, so lack of eyes? I don't know. Remove. Ortho is skeletal. Oh, wait, you're right. Orthodontist. What am I saying, man? Chad, you're smarter than me. You're smarter than me. I thought ortho was eyeballs. I don't know why I thought that. Yeah, orthopedic, orthodontist. Yeah, skeletal.
this has been going on for many years, 2023 saw Liver King explode to socials. He was claiming Natty status, and his principles were the 9 ancestral tenets, which I'm sure had good meaning. But it turned out that Liver King, Brian Johnson, was a lying piece of shit. Behind his—
Wow, what a surprise. Lying on social media for clout and money. Color me surprised.
multi-million-dollar empire based on improving lives with supplementation regimes was excessive steroid and growth hormone use, which actually borderlines more of abuse. In a bid to grow his business to the largest possible heights, he had to deceive millions of people to get there. 2024 saw a brand new meme page, Eddie Abu. Like Liver King, people flock to something that must be novel, that must be superior to just exercising more and having a more balanced diet. The more
well, the other thing is that people don't want to see someone who just does a bunch of injects a bunch of, steroids into their thigh or whatever. Like, and people don't want to see that either. That's why the Liver King lied, because people were like, oh my gosh, he's natty. That's so cool.
Crazy, the more insane the character is, the more we just cannot resist flocking to that rather than just sensible advice that's backed by science. And in the space of a year, we went from eating testicles and living primal to labeling the majority of foods as shit and abolishing anything that isn't meat and eggs as being terrible for your health. You may even recall that Eddie Abu recently said that if you're depressed, it's because of your diet. So if you're out there on antidepressants and you're thinking about ending it all, just eat meat and eggs. According to Eddie, depression is all diet-based. Not only that—
It's not all diet-based. It's a multitude of factors. Like, yeah, if you're eating McDonald's every day, I don't know, man. I can't imagine. Wow, it's like 2013 fitness YouTube again. Oh yeah, I think it's circular. YouTube goes in circles. It really does.
You'll also recall that last week Eddie made a point that you shouldn't be tired in your 20s. So for any of you NHS workers that are doing night shifts and doing 18-hour days, just eat better, you idiots. Thanks, Eddie. Carnivores have actually been doing this for years, but Eddie's found a knack of doing it in a more viral way. Eddie comes from a background of extreme drug abuse as a very high-end bodybuilder, and I'll tip my hat to Eddie. And even though he was taking grams of gear a week and probably shortened his life by decades, he was good at that. But someone that bodybuilds to that level and gets in them skimpy underwear to tense on stage to impress another bunch of blokes, they crave some sort of attention. So you must ask yourself, are these values that Eddie purports true to his beliefs, or like Liver King, is this a ploy to grow his financial position to the best position possible? Because it's estimated that Eddie's making over £50,000.
50,000 pounds a fucking month? Holy shit, that's a lot of money!
A month, educating people in subjects that are not backed by science. He even insists that the insulin hypothesis, which has been debunked a lot, numerous times, with
the effect of high-fat versus high-carb diet on body composition and strength in males, association between changes in carbohydrate intake and long-term weight changes, prospective cohort study. Yeah, I'll believe the papers.
Plethora of studies. The insulin is the driver of weight gain, and if you want to lose weight, you need to control your insulin, not your calories. He debunks energy balance. He actually disputes that calories are not even a thing. Eddie goes head-to-head with—
Maybe calories isn't even a thing. I learned about calories from health class in 8th grade, I think, and we had to do calculations and learn what joules are. Oh.
Thermodynamics, and there are millions of people that back him. because they're idiots. Now I get that Eddie's message is backed by well-meaning, but so is Liver King's. And I'm sure that thousands of lives, maybe even millions of lives, are better off with his content. They're probably eating better. They're probably having less ultra-processed foods, which has always been the main principle of what I preach.
But then you... like, you're lying to them. You're not... They're chasing after something that's not achievable. I do feel bad. I knew a guy from work when I worked at a 9 to 5, and I worked in an office, and there was a bunch of women. There was one guy, and he said he thought about taking gear. He thought about it. He's like, yeah, I want to. Like, I'm just not big enough. And I'm just like, bro, like, you go to the gym like once a day, every day. Like, yeah, he didn't want to be small. Yeah, he always like kept saying like, I'm small. And I'm like, bro, you like, if you got big muscles, like, what are you talking about?
To improve your diet, exercise more, and lose fat.
Sad.
My biggest gripe with Eddie is this. He seems to say that diet is everything. But I would say there are 3 tiers that we need to prioritize when it comes to improving our health. Cardiovascular fitness, the amount of fat we have, the quality of our diet. Whereas Eddie just focuses on one. Sometimes when working with obese populations, getting them to change their diet is actually the hardest part. So getting them to reduce the amount of calories coming in, which can be done with a poor diet, will cause them to lose fat, which actually benefits their health. Also, we can improve their cardiovascular fitness. So there are 2 out of 3 means that we can improve someone's objective health markers without improving their diet. That's not to say I don't want to improve their diet, but we need to be nuanced and see what we can do with that client. Because everyone can eat healthy for 2 weeks and they go back to their old habits. Am I right? Now, I know a lot of you are going to be in Eddie's defense, probably in the comments going, yeah, we know that Eddie can't really read or assess research papers or understand.
But why would I do 2 weeks of dieting when I could just inject Ozempic? like, gee. Well, I don't want to do hard work.
Literature, but he's trying to save lives. He's doing this with people's best interests at heart, and I completely agree. But if we are to stray away from objective truths in a bid to save lives, where does this end? Because if you support that notion, then that's just a bit like agreeing with what the governments did in the pandemic when they claimed vaccines were a lot more safe than they actually were because it was in a bid to save lives. If you can be dishonest, as long as people's best interests are at heart, where does that stop? You then open a door to a place that we don't want to go. So many of you are up in arms that the government lied to us in one hand whilst trying to protect us with the other. Yet when their favorite influencer goes into supermarkets and just makes stuff up, that's completely fine. Eddie's content actually used to be super reasonable. He's now a product of the people egging him on. Pardon me.
People are very distrustful of the government now. I think it was a big fucking wake-up call to a lot of people at the time.
Here's a video of Eddie back in the day where he's a lot more sensible.
Now when you got something like lentils, it's like getting protein out of bread. It's just pointless.
His stances on things are a lot less polarizing, and he's a lot actually closer to an evidence-based standpoint on nutrition. But unfortunately, that doesn't bang millions of views. The further you go from the objective truth, the easier it is to get people as part of your cult, and therefore make lots of money from it. Look at the Mormons, or Scientology. Pretty sure they make more money than Christians.
Yeah, these camera cuts are hurting my eyes. This is Coco Melon, but for people who want to watch gym or like health recommendations. I'm not gonna lie, I like this guy, but damn, the fucking camera cuts are killing me.
Christianity, and their story is whack. Which brings me on to number 2, body image issues and the algorithm. Everyone nowadays wants to be a fitness influencer because it pays well and you can work remote from a laptop in Bali. But out of the tens of thousands of people doing it, only the most confident, best looking, best physiqued ones will stop you in your tracks. Your eyes may admire the male or female physiques, then boom, you are done. The algorithm then knows that you want to see more of that. The more younger, the more chiseled. Anyone not in that top 1% shape, you'll swipe past. Before you know, your feed is curated with the best, and the top of the algorithm of these fittest, best looking babes.
Yeah, and that's the algorithm feeding into your brain that dopamine, that sweet, sweet dopamine, and then you want to go goon. You're like, argh, argh.
Every time you go on your phone, you're just flocked and you can't stop looking at them. You try swiping away, but the algorithm knows what you're doing, knows you like babes. Sharing it into the boys group chat doesn't, what? Imagine if I was to get the top 10,000 business owners, and then I said, hey, let's just go mingle with the top 50 of those. You'd then feel that your own entrepreneurial talent was not even worth pursuing. But in any cohort of humans, if you look at the top 1%, you're gonna feel damn depressed from it. You must realize that every time you go on social media, you are skimming the top percentile of winners. It's not reality, it's not real life. Which brings me on to number 3, dating.
I noticed that on Facebook a lot, like, and I think it was about 8 or 7 years ago. I noticed a lot of my friends that I knew, like, not a little bit below surface level, like I actually knew what they were like. They post a lot of the stuff that they omit and they only show the good parts. And I started thinking that I was like a failure because I hardly used Facebook at all, period. And they would always post like, oh, I'm having like fucking kids and shit, and I love my husband and blah, blah, blah. And it makes you feel bad. And I feel like that's like a big contributing factor to why fucking people fucking hate social media. They show you the best parts of their like feed, their Instagram reel, their Facebook. I'm going to Bali next week. Wow. It's like, man.
There's a fantastic guy called Rory Sutherland who did a podcast with Chris Williamson, and he makes an exceptional point about recruiting, talent, and dating. And here's a clip of Rory Sutherland, by the way. Big credit to Modern Wisdom Podcast too. I know I'm business partner with Chris, but his guests have been exceptional recently.
I don't think a still photograph and a few words of text are in any way a proxy for who you might forge a long-term relationship with.
Rory makes a fantastic point that when you're recruiting, an HR department often won't see anyone who on their CV doesn't have a 2-1 and above, which is a grade at university. And the issue with that is there is a lot of talent out there that just didn't want to go to university or that didn't get a 2-1, myself included. I flunked out in my first year because I just hated it. Doesn't mean I'm not intelligent or I'm not capable. My multiple businesses should be credit to that. Just because I don't want to sit in a room for an hour and a half and recite boring topics of medicine through time and scribble it on bits of paper doesn't mean I'm stupid. So it's kind of...
That's just what I'm saying, man. I fucking hate sitting through fucking 3-hour labs and shit. Fuck that shit. Man.
Ridiculous that people hiring graduates for their first job would overlook the majority of people. Not to mention, the amount of men going to university is massively dropping. If you only set a 2-1 as a...
I know exactly why. I know exactly why men are dropping out and not going to college. Women!
Prerequisite for hiring, you're going to leave a lot of talent on the table. And if all recruiters are all looking for the same 2-1 and above, loads of talent doesn't get looking, the rest of the talent is all being fought over. And we see the same issues with dating. And this again is Rory's point. The same way that just setting a prerequisite for a 2-1 to hire someone for a job makes the same mistake as in dating apps, just using a picture and a bit of text to try and pick someone that's ideal for dating. Rory makes a fantastic point that Cameron Diaz and Jennifer Aniston wouldn't be supermodels. They just don't have the look. But because it's the way they move, it's the way they interact, it's the way they sound, it's seeing them on video that makes you realize their beauty. The same goes for different characters, different men, different women all over the world. People that look good in photos and people that look good in video are very different.
Well, there's also like the whole preferences thing. Like you might have preferences like, oh, I don't like short hair. I like short hair. I want muscles on women. I don't want muscles on women. It's like a preference thing as well. There's plenty of men that see that, what's her name? That famous influencer on Twitter that has like big muscle mommy, like rippling abs. And some people are like, I don't like that. And that's okay. It doesn't mean she's not attractive.
And from my experience with dating, those that look best on the pictures look like a sack of potatoes in real life, and some that look like a sack of potatoes in the pictures turned out to be beautiful in real life. And if we rely on just social media apps, we are like recruiters, we leave a lot of talent on the table. That's why the dating pool is so messed up. Rather than just meeting someone on a night out, having a few drinks and going, yeah, you're fit, we're suddenly screening people with a means that may not flatter them in the best light. Not to mention at the moment, in somewhere like the UK, it's so expensive to go to university that only people going to university now are people that need to get degrees for jobs. Whereas back in the day, you'd go socialize, move away from home for a few years and get your end away on 3 nights a week. So even people at university aren't socializing in the way they were supposed to because their parents don't want to spend £10,000 a year to send their kid away to uni for them to be getting pissed 3 nights a week. That's what university...
Oh my god, that's so true, man. My brother, he needed like a year or 2 to like just get it out of his system, and now they don't really do that anymore. They don't let you.
He was back in the day. So not only are we seeing degrading relationships with food, rates of orthorexia going up, not are we only seeing social media making people feel depressed about the fact they don't have a six-pack, we're now seeing people that get depressed because they can't find a decent partner or someone to go on a date with because they're relying wholly on social media apps that are largely flawed to find a partner. It's very important that you're proactive in person, that you find good talent. Which brings me on to number 4. Anabolic steroids. Alan Richardson portrays the character in Reacher, and I like Alan Richardson. I think he's a dreamy bloke. I watched the first 2 episodes, and let me tell you this, I could not stop looking at his muscles and his hairline. You seen Jack?
That is not gay, chat. Don't fucking say that. No gay G. That's not gay!
Reacher? Not seen him? No, he is? Well, what do you do with your life? Crypto. Fucking waste, man. This guy's 40. He's jacked. And he's got a perfect hairline. So I'm like, look, I know you're getting a bit testy with the old... So how are you keeping that immaculate hairline whilst running tests? How is this fair? He's been an actor for like 10 years. And this guy is top percentile genetics. But the second this guy goes on a few hundred milligrams of test a week, boom! Men's Health want him on the front cover. What does that say? That you can be an elite man, looking a great way. The guy's like 6'2", very good looking, immaculate. But stick the guy on a bit of test, Men's Health go, now we are ready to have you to depict what fitness is to the people. Let me get the cover out. That guy. And this is the thing, it says, fit at any age, more muscle, more energy, in every decade of your life.
How old is he? How old is he, Chet? Do you know off the top of your head? He's in his 40s? No shot. He definitely does something. Early 40s? That's still obscene to have that kind of muscle mass at 40. Yeah, like there's just no shot. Yeah, he's juicing, definitely.
Jacked Reacher finally gets huge.
I'm not saying that men in their 40s can't get jacked like this, but like this is ridiculous. Like you are in your prime between 23 and 28 as a male. Like that's your prime. Then you start slowly falling off and then you hit around about 40, 38 and 40. That's when you start like going like, yeah, that's when you go down. Early 30s is prime. This is 20 to 35. I read somewhere it was 23 to 32 or 31, but I could be wrong. Anyway, I'm just saying, 40s, you should not be like this. That's so, like, ridiculous.
You got young dudes looking at this guy as aspiration. You're in the gym slaying it day in, day out, trying to be the best version of yourself. And you've got a living, breathing encapsulation that if you were to just add testosterone to your life and pin yourself forever, your career could take off. Nice one, Men's Health. As if you weren't plebs before putting unaspirable physiques. Because you're the issue, Men's Health. You literally take the top percentile of what you call men that haven't eaten in a while, and you put them on the front cover of your magazine. There are real great men that don't have six packs. There are real men in great bids of health that don't have model physiques. And I just hate what your magazine...
Yeah, and then also these pictures, you have to be fasting and like starving yourself. Because obviously, hold on, where's the picture? The one before the cover? Right here, yeah. Like you are so cut. That's insane. I know this. Like I fucking like heard about my brother. He wanted to be like Jack too. And he told me like you have to fucking basically starve yourself to get these like perfect shots. It's not realistic.
What your magazine is about. 6 minute ab routines.
Yes,
hey,
correct.
try this exercise. Yep. There's no periodization, no education. Because if people actually understood the principles, they wouldn't read your shite. Oh, who's currently on cycle? Let's get a picture of him on the front cover. Plebs. Come on, bro. The number 5, the availability bias. And I know I've covered this in a few videos before, but in essence, the information that's available to us makes us paint a reality of the world, not really how it is. For instance, I'm here literally a few hundred meters away from the sea in Australia. Every time I go out and swim, my mind does the same thing as you, going sharks, but I'm way more likely to drown. Bondi Rescue made a whole TV show about people drowning at the beach, not shark attacks. But every time there's a shark attack...
What? People drown instead and they get scared? Really? That's horrible, man.
Everyone knows about it. Every time there's a drowning, no one cares. You can literally walk down to Bondi Beach and watch people walk into the ocean fully clothed with jeans on and get sucked into a rip, because the problem is...
When I went to Australia, that was the one number thing that the lifeguards in Australia warned us about. They constantly watch for rips because rips are fucking clap you. There was a really famous case in New Zealand. it was a famous rugby player, so he was really, really fit, and he had 2 nieces out on a beach that wasn't monitored by lifeguards, and it's really scary. He had 2 little nieces playing, and they got caught in a rip, and he like, as a ripped massive like rugby player, he was sinking, but he had the strength. He pushed them out and then ended up drowning because he saved their life, and it ripped him under, and he obviously drowned because he's a big guy and he's heavy, and he probably was really tired trying to save those kids, and he died. So it's like, bro, man. Sony Fi? I don't remember when it happened. Was that his name? Yeah, he was a rugby player. Yeah, he died in 2009. That was so sad, bro. Yeah, he saved his kids, yeah. Tragically lost his life 9 years ago. After trying to save his younger brother in a rip. Yeah, he saved his younger brother. He pushed him out and he passed away. Yeah. Sad. Кто такой этот rip? A rip is a body of water where you can't really tell that the current is moving really fast, and it rips you under and you can't swim out of it, and it basically drowns you because you start falling like underneath the current, basically. You're basically supposed to let it take you and hope for the best. Yeah.
I'm British. I can name 5 different species
breath.
of shark, but I still
Try
can't
to live,
spot the
but you
rip,
usually don't.
which is where the water goes out, because I can look at the waves. And the thing is, say you're going for a little swim, you're like, oh, nice waves, nice waves. Oh, there's a little gap where there's no waves. Rip, swim in, out your depth, dead. It's the same as the lottery. You spend enough. This is you, mate. Crypto, mate. No one knows a lottery winner, but they see one on TV. So they go, oh my God, I need to do the lottery. And then they don't just give them the money. They get the person to come on TV, give them the massive check. Get out there, look at Trevor. Look at fat Trevor.
Cool,
he won 10 million. This could be you. They throw it in your face to make you feel like it could happen when statistically it really can't. The same as you with your crypto lot. You truly believe that crypto is your way out because you only subscribe to the people that have done well with.
And same with people who, it's the same people who talk about starting their own business, and then they're like, yeah, you should start Twitch streaming right now because look at me, I'm successful. It's like, bro, you have to get lucky and you have to work hard. Lottery is even worse, arguably, because you're literally just like taxing yourself and wasting your money into like throwing into it and hoping you get lucky, like statistically speaking. That's even sadder.
Crypto, because the tens of thousands and millions of people that lost huge amounts of money in crypto remain silent, which paints a reality of the world that isn't true. But every time you feel depressed about your stance on crypto, there you go and delve into looking for more information to back up your exist so you can feel like crypto is a smart investment.
It's a bias,
that check they use on TV doesn't even work. They go to the bank and the bank's telling them to piss off. And the only thing worse than social media of how it's messing up how we see the world and everything within it is the current state of misinformation on podcasts. And if you want to understand the downfall of modern podcasts, then you'll have to watch the video I made about it right here. If you've already seen that video, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Nice. That was a good video. Got me yapping. I'm passionate about these kinds of topics, man. Clappies! Yeah, I have an older brother. He really wanted to be ripped and like go to the Navy, but it ended up not working out. He was just always like kind of like a fitness buff. Always talking about that kind of stuff. Be passionate about this. Shut up! The camera made me sick. I know. I didn't like the cuts, but I'm pretty sure it was filmed like that for, it was filmed like that for TikTok and like YouTube shorts and shit. It's annoying.